quick snap, second down. Favre with daylight and time, goes for the whole thing. Touchdown! Green Bay leads. Brett Favre, 40 yards, and Sterling Sharpe's third touchdown of the game.
5 seconds left.
The time that he played, the numbers that he put up, absolutely 100% deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. That guy was an incredible player, and it's really not that much of an argument.
And the ball goes into the hands of the most dangerous guy on the field, Sterling Sharpe. Touchdown number 4 for Sterling Sharpe.
There have been plenty of dominant wide receivers throughout NFL history, but there is one that often gets forgotten. Sterling Sharpe was one of the most talented receivers in the game throughout the late 80s and early 90s. Sharpe was an all-around receiver that could do anything on the field. During his time playing, he looked like he was a first-ballot Hall of Famer, putting up numbers that were comparable to Jerry Rice. But just as he was starting to hit his peak, tragedy struck and a freak injury ended Sterling Sharpe's career. Let's take a look at one of the greatest what-if careers in all of NFL history. Sterling Sharpe was born in Chicago but grew up in Glenville, Georgia with his little brother Shannon, who became a 3-time Super Bowl champion and Hall of Fame tight end. He graduated from Glenville High School, where he played as a running back, a quarterback, and linebacker. He was a multi-sport athlete playing football, basketball, and track. Sharpe got an offer to play college football for the South Carolina Gamecocks, where he set multiple school records in stats such as career receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns, all of which have since been broken. He finished his college career with 169 receptions, 2,497 receiving yards, and 17 touchdowns. He was also a 2-time All-American. Sharpe would get his number retired in 1987 at the end of the season, making him the second active Gamecock to achieve this honor. In 2014, Sterling Sharpe would be immortalized in the College Football Hall of Fame. Sterling Sharpe was a highly touted prospect coming out of college, with many NFL teams wanting his services. Sharpe would be drafted 7th overall in the first round in the 1988 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers. In his rookie season, Sharpe made an immediate impact as he caught 55 passes for 791 yards and 1 touchdown. In Sharpe's sophomore year, he would break out for 90 catches, 1,423 yards, and 12 touchdowns, earning a Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro honors for the first time in his career. He led the league in receptions that year. A Packer has not led the league in receptions since Don Hutson in the 1940s. That in itself is a big deal, and Sterling Sharpe would only get better from there. The following year, Sterling Sharpe's number declined a little bit, but he still put up 1,105 receiving yards on 67 receptions and 6 touchdowns. In the 1991 season, his numbers once again went down as Sharpe put up 69 receptions for 961 yards and 4 touchdowns. People might look at those numbers at face value and assume Sterling Sharpe declined and wasn't as good as we thought he was, but that is far from the truth. In the late 80s and early 90s, the Packers were in their dark ages, and Sharpe was a bright spot for some really bad Packers teams that were led by quarterback Don Majkowski. Majkowski was an average quarterback at best, but put up decent stats with Sharpe in Sterling's breakout season in 1989, with Majkowski finishing second in MVP voting. The quarterback situation was not good in Green Bay, but in 1992 that was all going to change with the rise of young upcoming superstar Brett Favre. In 1992, Don Majkowski got injured against the Bengals and Brett Favre came in. With this new addition at quarterback, Sterling Sharpe gets taken to a whole new level. Sterling Sharpe would go off for 108 receptions, 1,461 yards, and 13 touchdowns, leading the league in all three major categories, earning the Triple Crown. At that time in history, Sharpe would become the 10th different player to win the Triple Crown, joining the likes of Ray Flaherty, Don Hutson, Elroy Hirsch, Pete Pihos, Raymond Berry, Johnny Morris, Dave Parks, Lance Allworth, and Jerry Rice. The next Triple Crown winner wouldn't be until 2005, with Steve Smith Sr. achieving this feat. Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase would become Triple Crown winners as well in 2021 and 2024 respectively. The large gaps of Triple Crown winners throughout history show just how monumental this achievement really is, and shows just how great Sterling Sharpe really was in his time. In 1993, Sterling Sharpe put up 112 receptions, 1,274 yards, and 11 touchdowns. He would once again lead the league in receptions. This time, for the first and only time in Sharpe's career, he would get a chance to go to the postseason. In the wild card matchup against the Detroit Lions, Sterling Sharpe would do very well, as he had 5 catches for 101 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Packers would go on to defeat the Lions 28-24, with Sharpe's third touchdown of the game being the game winner. The Packers would face off against the Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith-led Cowboys in the divisional round. The Cowboys would take care of the Packers pretty easily, winning 27-17. Sterling Sharpe would not go out quietly, as he had 6 catches for 128 yards and 1 touchdown in the game. Although they lost, Sterling Sharpe showed that he could show up when the lights are brightest, putting up very good numbers. At the end of the 1993 season, Sterling Sharpe would become the first player to achieve 100 receptions in back-to-back seasons. 1994 would end up being Sterling Sharpe's final season, as he would have 94 receptions, 1,119 yards, and 18 touchdowns, with the latter leading the league. The Packers would end up beating the Lions in the wild card round 16-12, but would get absolutely demolished 35-9 in the divisional round against the Dallas Cowboys. The only difference this time around is that Sterling Sharpe would not join the Packers for this postseason run. In Week 16 against the Atlanta Falcons, Sterling Sharpe would injure his neck blocking on a run play. It would be a stinger neck injury that would ultimately cut his career short. He went down to the ground for minutes before walking off the field.
It looked like Favre would be sacked. Now the handoff to Bennett, got 4 over the left side, and Sterling Sharpe is down.
What happens is he's right here. He gets involved in the block. I mean, he's so big and strong. He gets involved in the run play, and you see him there taking on the defensive back, and boy, he took it right on the number.
The following week, in the final game of the regular season, Sterling Sharpe would play the final game of his career against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sterling would have one of the best games in his entire 7-year career, putting up 9 catches for 132 yards and 3 touchdowns. In the final minutes of the game, Sterling Sharpe would get another stinger in his neck, and that would ultimately cost him his career, as the injury got way too serious, and fans and teammates alike didn't know it yet, but Sterling Sharpe would never play another game in the NFL. Following Sterling Sharpe's forced retirement, the Packers continued to improve and ultimately won the Super Bowl in 1996 against the New England Patriots, and returned the following year in 1997, losing in the Super Bowl to the Denver Broncos. It really makes you wonder how much greater Sterling's career would have been had he been healthy the rest of his career. Could the Packers have won more Super Bowls with him? We will never know, but Sterling Sharpe could have been a top 5 wide receiver of all time. Sterling Sharpe was a bright spot on some terrible Packers teams and helped lead the Packers into glory, but ultimately that glory was achieved without him, and that hurts to see as he was a generational talent that could have been one of the all-time greats. At the time of his retirement in his 7 years of playing, he accumulated 595 receptions, 8,134 receiving yards, and 65 touchdowns. He would be awarded with 5 Pro Bowl nods and 3 First-Team All-Pro awards, and in 2002 was inducted into the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame. Throughout the years, Sterling Sharpe would be a hot topic for debate on whether or not he deserved to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His numbers spoke for itself, but a lot of voters felt as if he did not play long enough. His brother Shannon Sharpe campaigned throughout the years in order to get his brother into the Hall of Fame. Shannon in his own induction speech would talk about Sterling, saying, "I am the only person in the Hall of Fame that can say I was the second best player in my own family." On February 6th, 2025, Sterling Sharpe would finally get the call and was announced as an inductee for the class of 2025. This was long overdue, but now that he is inducted, he will be immortalized in pro football history as one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. If you have any other video suggestions, leave it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.